Thank you. I wasn't sure it was my turn, but how beautiful, how wonderful. The music, the energy, to be with you all here. So we just turn within. And I would just like to start with just a moment of just taking a few breaths of turning within together. To know that we are, there's only one God, there's only one Spirit. Just take that for a moment. Take that into your heart. And that we're not separate, that we're really, really a part of that one. And we create the experience of our lives, our own thoughts. And that leads us to our opening today. Thank you. Thank you for settling with me. Thank you. I was so enjoying the music. I almost forgot I was going to speak. Yes, we're continuing the four agreements. Here we go. We began the book study last week, and in summary, in case you weren't online or in person, we are working with this book. Can't quite read that, but it is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he unveiled Toltec wisdom. This Toltec wisdom goes back thousands and thousands of years. And it's so appropriate for us today. Speaks to our heart because this is what we need to remember. Certainly is what I need. So when you hear these four agreements, you might also put a little smile on your face because that you're going to feel and hear our very own unity principles. Our unity principles are not just coming from one place. It's universal. It's universal truth. Universal truth all sounds the same. And like my friend Sharon says, well, of course it sounds the same. If it wasn't the same, it'd be a lie. So of course, truth is truth, and it emerges in so many ways. So we say that God is good and everywhere present, and God is within us, and we are in charge of creating the experience of our lives through our own thinking. And this book is working with the four agreements that were taken from the Toltec wisdom. And in the beginning of the book, we're told that one of the reasons that we exist separated in our minds, we're separated. Only in our minds are we separated because of what we call in unity, the conditioned mind. Don Ruiz says it's because of domestication. Don't you love that word? It's because we've been domesticated. I'm going to read straight from the book because I love this little paragraph. When he was awakening, we all have to go through these stages. When he was awakening from a dream, he went into a cave and he was awakening in a dream. And he says, this is what I discovered. Everything in existence is a manifestation of the one living being we call God. Everything is God. He came to the conclusion that human perception is merely light perceiving light. Don't you love that? Our perception in reality is only light perceiving light. And how in the world can we get so separated and messed up? Well, it's easy for me. I don't know about you, but it sure is easy for me. Just to review, I wanted to go through these four agreements. And it says, the first one is be impeccable with your word. That's what we did last week. This time, we're going to do a deep dive on don't take anything personally, right? Okay. And the third one is don't make assumptions and always do your best. When our lives and in the lives around us be so different if we took that to heart and took that into a daily practice. So we're going to take that deeper look into don't take anything personally. And, have you ever had that experience where, somebody says something about you, maybe like, you know, you're really weird, or, you don't really understand, implying that you're stupid, or, you really could go to Pilates class, expecting you to change somehow. And we take that in, we hear it, we hear it, take it into our wounds, and we think, I'm unworthy. I'm just like everyone else. I'm old, stupid, fat, dumb. We take those words in to those places where our domestication has taught us to take it. We take those words in to say, somehow keeping us separate from this light perceiving light. We are light perceiving light. And don't we need to remember that over and over again? So these 4 steps, these 4 agreements are really practices to help us realize how to not to wake up from our domestication and get a little rewilding again. So we don't take things personally. Well, I don't know about you, but that one's not really easy for me. So we are here to wake up from being entranced. We're entranced by the dream. We're entranced. In fact, in the book we hear this. We read, when somebody gives us those messages, being unworthy, somehow not taking, being less than, calls it poison. Those are poisons. And it's our choice whether we are going to eat the poison. Don't you love that? This is poison. It feels toxic to, again, over and over, can remind ourselves or in some way convince ourselves that we are somehow separate from the light of everything. So here's the questions. Are we choosing our own life experiences as a good thing? Or are we choosing our own life experiences to dine on our emotional pain? We all do that, don't we? Maybe we enjoy somebody else's pain. Yeah. Maybe our memories are coming up just to haunt us, just to make us feel that sense of distance again. And Miguel says, it's hard to say no to familiar food. I grew up in Appalachia. I'm not the only one on this call that grew up in Appalachia. In Appalachia, we have spices. These are the 4 Appalachian spices, and they're in everything. Salt, pepper, sugar, and bacon grease. Yeah. Salt, sugar. And then you wash it down with red Kool-Aid. And so you probably, from your culture, have something similar. What do you have that you've later learned is a little bit toxic? No, I don't want to do that to my body anymore. And we've made physical changes. At Thanksgiving, people come to my house. My family comes to my house. And my brother always wants home cooking. And I put like a tenth of what it is that we grew up with just so we have the taste. But we're reminded it's hard to say no to what is familiar. I am a little bit time challenged, or a whole lot time challenged, especially across time zones. And I made a mistake and I dropped into the online class, the healing letters. I'm so glad God directed me to that mistake. It was so wonderful to be online and listen and join this group of, oh, please take this class. It supports us. It's the food that we need to wake up, not just from the old familiar mind, but it's awaking us to the Christ mind. My favorite line out of the healing letters is when Myrtle um, says they were working on getting people to come to their school, like we do with our churches. We work on people to come to our church. And she says, I don't care if people come to the church. I don't care if people come to the school. She says, what I care about, what I'm passionate about, is that people wake up to the Christ mind. And that may be our guide in our heart, our guide to. It's not about the numbers. It's about waking up and having the support that we constantly need, our support over and over and over again, so that we are definitely supported to wake up. We are, in that we look at, Miguel says, we don't have to live in the hell of our own making. We can also live with the gods. We don't have to choose suffering and to eat that toxin. The toxin then becomes, are we going to look at our minds as clearly as we've chosen to look at our own food and our diet? Let me tell you a little story. We have a tourist attraction. Maybe you have one in your town, or maybe you've been to one. And I recently moved from Charleston, West Virginia to Asheville, North Carolina. And in Asheville, we have the Biltmore. The Biltmore is a turn of the century, it's like between 18 and 1900s mansion. And in that mansion, it's a big tourist attraction, and they have the gardens, and they have the winery, and they have the farms, and it's this big estate. I go there to walk my dog. My dog Betty he's a beagle, so he has to be walked every day, and there's a beautiful river road, and we go there. My husband and I go there early in the morning because my beagle doesn't want to walk in the afternoon heat. So we go there to walk the river roads and just to enjoy the beautiful scenery. And in this tourist attraction, what the locals know is when you go there, you have an open mind. And it's really, I was thinking about that. When do I not take things personally? It's so easy to take things personally. When do I not take things personally? And I'm thinking it is at the Biltmore. When we start to go down to Biltmore Village, and the tourists will do this, we just laugh and we go, it's like we suspend judgment. We know that the rules of the road no longer apply. And if people are in the right lane and they want to come to the left lane, great. They just do it. And you might have experienced that in somewhere in your life too. We just have this place where people, and I just open it up constantly. I'm constantly looking at just the wonderment of how people interact there. One woman, she was driving really slow. Okay, she's driving really slow. She's taking a picture of everything. But it's not just through the windshield. She opens the door, gets out, leaves the car door open in the middle of the road, and takes pictures. Okay. At another time and in another place, that might have made me mad. I might have taken that a little personally. It's like, you don't have any respect for my time. No, there my mind is just laughing, joyous, open. And then she stops and gets really close. And I'm like, what is she doing? She's taking a picture of a duck. I'm sorry, honey. as we say in the South, bless your little heart. That's how we cuss, actually. But anyway, I looked at her license plate. It said New York. Okay, I understand. Take a picture of that duck, honey, all you want. So it's just sort of like that. Do you have places in your life where you're not taking it personally? I think it's real important to build on success, to know those places that we really are fine with. So and lots of times we really have to open our mind to those and really be in the place where we don't take things personally, where we're not taking in the toxins of other people. In fact, when other people give us their toxin, we don't have to eat their garbage. We are not a garbage disposal. No, we're not. We don't have to do it. So we don't have to take the actions of others personally. I find that hard. I find myself really having to work this practice. Give you another example. Now, remember, we're talking about don't take this personally. So, there's another example. Mark, my husband, and I are going into the Biltmore, and he had to go to the ticket office, a lodge over here. And he parks over here so there's lots of parking spaces in the front of the lodge. So I'm waiting. I got my buddy and I'm trying to get my little self together. I have the passenger door open, and this woman rolls down her window. They're driving this big, huge white truck, and they're coming fast. And she's yelling, hey, close your door, we're going to park there, close your door, we're going to park there. And I go, what? The parking lot is empty, So I'm trying to and I realize they're not slowing down. And they're going to park there, no matter if my door is there or not, or my leg or my foot or my dog. So I'm trying to get right back on in. And I finally get that door closed, and that guy just slips right on into there. My husband, Mark, saw the whole thing. He was coming out of the lodge, and he saw the whole thing. And he knows me. And he said, he comes running over. He gets in the passenger side, and he looks at me and says, Karen, do not say a thing. That guy is huge, and he's packing a gun. I said, Mark, how do you know he's packing a gun? The license plate says he's from Texas. Yeah, well, you can't make okay, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, don't take this personally. Okay, so we have to learn over and over again to trust, not trusting other people, but trust ourselves. And the trust that we have our supports around us. We trust over and over again. We say oftentimes we drop to our heart and we feel that God presence, that Christ presence within us. That's the trust of the four agreements, that we know that we can be not responsible to someone else, but be responsible for our own spiritual growth by not taking things personally. I had to really work on that one, and it was a kind of maybe embarrassing hours before I was sitting on my deck, and I was saying, how do you not take that personally? He was going right for me, But I realized later, it wasn't going for me. It didn't have anything to do with me. He was going for that parking place. It didn't matter. It wasn't about me. And it took a while because I wanted to get mad and say things. But we have our supports, thankfully. We have our supports. It takes a lot to change old beliefs, doesn't it? Doesn't it? We're so entrenched into old patterns. That's why we need unity, and that's why we need one another. That's why we need our classes, our Sunday morning experiences, to remember over and over again who we are and what we are, and that we are a light, receiving a light, even when we can't see it. And nowhere in this book does it say, expect the other person to change. And nowhere in this book it doesn't say, other people can be different around you. That's not what this book is saying at all. It says what we say in unity. It's our own thinking. That's our salvation. It's to return again and again to knowing God is everywhere present, God is within us, and we have to change according to our own thinking. And we have tools, and we have support, and we have to live it. It's that living part, isn't it? So we trust ourselves over and over. We trust ourselves so that we don't live in the hell of suffering, and the hell of anger, and the hell of blaming. But we trust ourselves that we want to live in the bliss of knowing the Christ light that's within us all. And that's what we trust. That's our practice. And yeah, it takes practice. So I'd like to just take a few moments and take a moment and breathe. And as we're getting ready, we are going to go within and do a little meditation and work with these practices maybe in a little different way. So, if you will, get yourself settled to go within. Take some very deep breaths. Taking those deep breaths. Start with the crown of your head and just feel your crown of your head. Now go just a little tiny bit above your head. And as if there's a golden stream of nectar. That golden stream enters the crown and pools there for a little bit. And that we know in this moment that we are one. That we are the real us. That's pure light and pure love. We let that golden nectar just come down through the center of the body to the third eye or the between the brows. And we allow that light to shine forth, to shine, so that we can see a world we want to see, a world that is made of the light, and that people know that, and that we can join together over and over again, creating the consciousness of the world that we want to live in, that's inclusive, brings all people into the joy and into the light. From this light that's shining so bright, we know we are awakened, that we have awakened from the first step or we could not be here today. We know all the ways that we do know, and all the ways that there is joy. We have awakened from the dream, even though it's so familiar and comfortable to return. We won't. We won't. because we don't do this by ourselves. We have our supports physical and not seen, bringing us over and over again to this moment. So we drop down the center of the body and we reach that beautiful throat chakra, and that which is so expressive, saying the words of impeccability, constantly creating with our voice. And we feel the divine confidence that God is within and surrounding us, everywhere present. And gently and kindly, that golden nectar drops to the heart. We just take a deep breath. Know that we're called to this time, that we're called to these moments, to these days, to be that light, the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth that brings out and enhances the flavors around us. And we are the light of the world, so that others too may awaken from the dream, from the entrancement, from the fields of pain and suffering, and may enjoy what we know now and in all ways. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.